Okay, so thank you everyone. Welcome for our last expert talk of the series related to the exhibition A Matter of Gaze. And today we will be talking with the supervisor and a future recreational educator at a private school here in Vienna that uses alternative approach to schooling. So it will be about the differences from what we were talking about until now. And thank you very much for coming.
Thanks too for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be in an expert talk.
Maybe we can start with a simple question. What does a day in your school look like for the children? Like, let's say from their perspective, what do they experience, how they
That
start?
sounds good. They're coming to school from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. They have, no, 7:30 to 8:30, they have time to feel free to make their morning exercise or to take it after school to their home to make it like a homework. So the beginning is they have the decision to sit and do the work or to take it to their home and start playing for 1 hour. Then there's the morning circle to check in, to see how many kids are there and to let the teachers talk about the daily program. That takes maybe 15 minutes. And after that, the first part of the day is to sit like a Frontalunterricht, to sit and learn. They have their
like
tables.
frontal learning.
Yeah, exactly.
So the traditional kind
The traditional kind of school, as I know it for example, and that's for 1.5 hours. Yeah, and that's the start. But in that time, they have also the space to see how they feel, and if they have to ask, they can sit like an individual place. If it's too much for them or too speedy, they can take their time and to have their individual space, come again later. That's a possibility as well.
During this hour and a half, that is this like frontal learning.
Yeah, exactly.
They still have these choices.
After that, there is a lunch break, 10 minutes.
Only 10 minutes for eating. For eating.
For eating or drinking, 10 minutes, and after that short break or lunch break, there is an opportunity to have every day there is some offers from parents, or for example for me. On Monday I have a movement class. On Tuesday I'm doing a creative class. We're doing handcrafts almost. And they can choose if they're going to the handcraft class or to the movement class, or having their, how to say in English, like a free learning time. They can choose what to learn in that time. And there is also the idea of, there is a word we use in the school, it's free learning time, because the idea of the school is they don't need a break because they have their quality time. And if you have quality time, you don't really need a break. Oh my God, I'm so confused and I was under pressure. You don't need a break of having a good time. Yeah, so it's called a free learning time. You can choose what to do there, or going to my class, or having a yoga class, for example. I hope I explained it right. Yeah, after that is another half hour. There is called also the free space. You can learn there, or you can play with the kids, or go to the chickens in the garden. Yeah, and after that, there is again, you can choose what to do. Yeah, you can get the program from the teacher if you say, yeah, I want to learn that. They're giving you some material, or you can choose to do some free program by yourself.
And we didn't say in the beginning, like, what are the ages of the kids?
From 6 to 10, it's primary school pupils.
And are the classroom, is it like mixed, or is it divided by age?
We have one learning group is from the they're mixed together, first and second class, and then upper level there's the third and fourth class together. They have 2 learning groups with 2 levels. Yeah.
What would you say are the benefits?
The benefits
of
are
them being mixed like this.
If they are, if they have a good relationship, which is a very important part, then they can learn each other or help each other a lot. The bigger ones can explain, like my imagination when I heard first about this project. The elder ones are guiding, and the younger ones are giving them responsibilities that they can feel big and being helpful. That's the ideal picture of it. Yeah.
And how is it in practice?
In practice, it's working almost 85%. No, it's working very well. Yeah. But you also have you asked for the benefits, but you also have the other ones which are using different words or having different, are older and are rougher sometimes, using different words, having maybe older siblings, and it could be too much for smaller ones, so they need protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
But basically the relationships still function.
Yeah, of
course.
It's
not making
more benefits than troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And can we talk a bit about what is the base of the style and the learning systems that in your school specifically is being used? I know that are a different that is not following one specific system, this is a Montessori school or this is a Waldorf school, but it's more a mixture of things. But can you maybe talk specifically about you already mentioned it in the class, that it's very focused on this self-directive learning, the kids are choosing, but then for the learning itself.
The base, I take this word now because when I started working there, the base was, otherwise I wouldn't be there, to be honest, was that every child is supported in being itself. And it's not the aim to have this classical curriculum, but it's the aim to find the right oh my gosh.
Material?
To find the right material for every individual. Yeah, exactly. And that was the beginning where I thought, okay, that's my place. Because I don't want to force you to make this because it's very important, but it's not important to the kid. So that's the very simple explanation of the place. And the people there are very good in living it, making no pressure and finding the right material for the right kid. And also, like I said before, they can choose. For example, the beginning of the day, you can choose, you want to sit now for 15 minutes to make this work, or you take it to your home because you want to play now. And there is, for example, for the Schularbeiten, the exams, the tests, you can choose how much you want to do both sides, or just one. You can do one side, or you can do both sides, for example.
Do you use grades? Or a grading system?
Yeah, but just in the third and fourth class, in the first and second not. And the third one, the second is starting with examinations or tests playing. They can play. You want to try a test? Yeah, we can do it, but it's just a game. So it's a very slowly getting into this pressure thing.
But then you implement they will be graded in the high, as you said, in the third and fourth grade, they will get
then
a normal, a numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is like the worst, or like is?
Yeah, of course, because the expectation of the parents, they are different ones. Some want their children to be in an alternative school after our school, and other ones want them to have in a public law school, and they need different material to step forward.
So it's like they are able to follow in the state schools with the education they gain in this elementary school.
Yeah.
They can go like...
The most people or parents wish that they can go wherever they want and be ready. Yeah. And some need more time, some less, and that's very... it's hard to see where you are or what's the next step. To be maybe in this class again, or go to the second class, or just jump one class over. Yeah.
Is this something that a teacher decide, because that's how it is usually in the, like in the state schools, or is it again more about how the child feels about it, or how the parents feel about the child?
In the best case, all of them are
aligned.
Yeah. But the teacher are the closest ones, because daily they are sitting and training with them and know where they are, and then they can make a suggestion to the parents. And if they are cooperative, and also very, that's a very, very important part. The last 15 years I was working in those institutions, some parents don't want to accept where the kid is. For example, a very simple one, the kid is in the level of 7 years and from the education, and the parents are thinking it's on the 11 level. Yeah. And that's a big problem sometimes. They don't accept it. You can tell them what's your opinion, but they don't see it, and they want their child to be very good and very pushed forward. In my simple English words, yeah.
Does it happen often that the child would like need to or want to like repeat a class?
No. I mean, that school is existing since 5 years now. I'm there since 2 years, but as I know the story of it, it's not happening often. Yeah. And
if we return back to like how the day looks like and how the class looks like for example with this 1.5 hour of frontal learning, how is the curriculum structured? Because like in the state school you have, for example, geography, you have math, you have language, but usually in alternative schools it's more like more complex. Like how is it in your school? How does it look?
It's like the Montessori style. Yeah, they have Cosmos, they have, I don't know, to be honest, all that topics they are filling it.
But it's more like topic based, and they like cover like a different of what is in state school, like chopped into different subjects, is like combined within a topic more or less.
Yeah, I would say so. And also there are 2 teachers, and every teacher has 1 week with the first class and the second class, and then they are changing weekly.
Okay.
So Andy, for example, has the class for the first and second for 1 week, and then Judith is coming, and they are changing all the time and having topics which are close to each other but not the same ones. Yeah, that's also very interesting. Yeah.
And are the kids choosing only like the way how to deal with a specific topic, or can they say like I don't like this topic today?
In the frontal class, they can say they don't like it, but they have to do it.
Okay.
Anyway, but then there is a trial to make it more digestible for them. Yeah. So they're trying to cope. How can I teach it to you that you can take it?
So there is like this effort to find a way how to interest the child in it.
It's a big effort, or there's a lot of energy for finding the right way that it's copeable. Yeah.
And this, I think one of like fair comments would be that this requires for less kids to be in the classroom, because it's difficult to have like individual approach when you have like 30 kids in the classroom.
That's right.
So like how many kids is like in
We have
these classes?
18 kids in one class, so one class with 9 kids, first, second, third, fourth. And that's also the part where I was saying the smaller the alternative schools are, the easier it is to deal with the individual beings. Because if you have 36, okay, you can manage it. If you have 600, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Or you need more teachers, and that's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, we will get to that part about how is it funded and not funded, but because this is part of conversation about mental health, maybe we can talk a bit now about what is your experience with the kids and their mental health, like how they feel in school. Are there any issues, or if someone is going through, for example, through a crisis, would you as a teacher, or like would a teacher know about it, for example, that something is happening at home and it's affecting the child and the way they learn?
Luckily, I've not that big experience with crisis in school. No big crisis, I would say, but when we feel or we recognize something, we are talking to the child first, and if we don't have a good feeling, we can talk to the parents, and if we don't have a good feeling, then we can, and the parents as well, can wish for a circle, then we're sitting together after school. And that's a culture you have to pflegen. Everybody has to know that the culture is existing, that they can come and they can talk about it. And step by step, it's like it's get manifested. And the kids know, okay, now I can say, I can tell what's my issue, what's my problem. And some kids coming out of a structure, family structure, where they already have that, or they get to know it in a school by us. Yeah, and that's how we deal with crisis. And health problems. Can you ask it more specific?
Because, you know, like in the state schools, it's very common that kids have anxiety, they have headaches, they are very stressed, they can have digestive issues from the stress, and it's like all very, like it's created by the environment, which the constant testing and so on. And the question is like in the school where this is all not present and kids can be choosing like more about what is happening within their days, like if you can see that they don't have these issues, like they are more content, like they feel good on like certain
in
general
my school,
level.
Yes.
So
I was just working there before I was working in the kindergarten, and they were all very small numbered and very like a community. We all knew each other maybe before or get knowing each other after very close time for a year, for example. We have a lot of parents talks and supervisions and whatever, and it's very easy to get close to the community. And luckily, I don't know many crises or youngsters which are in their Pubertät. Yeah. I just have friends, they have kids in those ages or in this age, but in my school or in the kindergarten I didn't have that.
Okay.
So I can't say it. I have friends, they're working in schools in Vienna, they have, but in very big schools, they have problems because they're so big. They have maybe one talk in a month with the parents and that's it, and everything is getting lost more or less, and you don't have the energy to hold it, or you have to protect yourself when you're going home to leave it there, because otherwise you have maybe 32 kids in the classroom and 10 of them have problems, and you're dealing with them every day, and you have to protect yourself as well to be able to follow up the curriculum.
Yeah, of course, this is another issue that we also talked about in the previous talks, about this like a lack of mental health support for the teachers, or also like a general lack of support, which then leads teachers to burnout, for example, and so on. So in your school, do you feel like more supported as
Definitely,
like as the staff, that it's like
we have a team talk every second week. We have a paid single supervision once in 2 months, and that's very luxurious, I would say. And our opinion, and my opinion since a long time as well, is that you have to be aware of yourself. You have to be very self-reflected if you are a stable person. Yeah, and I often recognized I'm not in the beginning of my work. I was so beschäftigt. I was so busy. I was so busy with my problems, or taking everything personal at the beginning. Yeah, and it costed a lot of energy. I was sick many times. Yeah. Or also I can say if I'm sick or my kids are sick at home, it's very hard to be focused in school. It's also a very big topic, the private and the business sector, to separate it. It's almost impossible. But in my school, we know each other since a long time. I have to say that I guided the kids of the director, the founder. I guided their kids in the kindergarten for 10 years. So we were all very close together. Yeah.
Is it also more standard that the kids are like led to talk about their feelings and how they feel, and to like be developing this emotional maturity to like recognize that if I feel a certain way, this is the emotion behind it, and to like, you know, like work with this.
What was the beginning of the question?
Like if this is something that is happening, like
definitely,
in the school, like from the side of the teachers also. And
of course, that's a very the most important part, to be honest, beside the curriculum and the plus minus stuff. Yeah, the relationship and how we can take care about each other, and also how to get to a conflict where part A and B is fighting, and you don't know exactly who started it, and like we know from often, or from my experience, often it's like I've seen it and you are the person who started, so you're the bad guy and you're the good guy, but you don't come there. Or normally, or what I see, or which I was raised, more or less, I didn't get asked what happened, but I get the punishment, for example, because I was the first getting seen by hitting the Fritzi or whatever. Yeah, that's a very essential part of our work as well. And the kids in the school and the teachers are working like this. They ask what happened, and everybody can say what happened. And you repeat what they're saying, and that's a very nice, that's a very important method to solve conflicts. Yeah.
Speaking about this, are there any punishments? Like, do you use it? Or like, what is the like conflict resolution? Or is there even a situation where something like a punishment would come to consideration?
Yeah, maybe if I'm some small consequences, if you are destroying something which is important for everybody in the school, or we all need, then it's like you can't use it now for 2 weeks, because if you destroy destroy the piano, it's then this, I would say it's a small consequence, maybe a punishment.
But it's like it's reasonable in relation to
Yeah,
what
yeah, of course. We sit together in silence without the other kids. We talk about it again. We say what it made to us, that it hurt us, and blah blah blah. And then it's every time in context to a happening, a close happening. Because if it's happened 1 week before, then it's too far away. Then you don't have to take it anymore. Then it's out of mind. Most of the times, if it's not too traumatic.
And considering all this, how the school functions, would you say it's more inclusive for like diverse needs to accommodate like kids with ADHD or autistic children or someone with disabilities? Like, would it be easier for them to follow the curriculum in your school than it is in the state school, or?
Then in interstate school?
Yes. Like if it would
I would
be
say
easier
yes,
without like
it would be
additional
easier
assistance.
to follow because we're smaller and we have maybe with our state of mind, we want to deal with the situation, and we are motivated to make a place where everybody can feel safe as they are. But we also had in my first institution and now in the school as well some pupils, and we tried our best, but it didn't work out. One was an autist, the other one was mentally and physically handicapped. Yeah. So they went to another place. So it's not easy. It's maybe a better place like in a public school, but it's not the best place. But it's also very hard to say, or very individual.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, then maybe we can talk now about more like the legal issues and the more practical issues also from the perspective of the parents, because usually alternative schools are private schools. So the first thing is maybe how to establish one, or like what do you need to?
As I know, it's a very small knowledge about from myself. What you really need, as I heard from my colleague, you need one teacher, a certificated teacher. You need a room, like I said before, the square meter per kid rule, whatever. You need separated toilets, as I know that's the state of art, and warm tap water. And if you have a kitchen, the kitchen must be certified as well. And that's the room pupil facts. And then probably you have to, if you're a teacher and you need the curriculum, it has to be written down somewhere, and the Bildungsdirektion has to say yes, go for it. Yeah, and then yearly you have a Schulinspektion. Somebody can come like spontaneously without a date and see how you're working. Yeah.
And how does
as
it
I
go?
know, that's all you need.
How does it go in this case with this like self-directed learning, that if the inspection comes during the class where you have to self-directed approach, how do they judge it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. How do they judge it? Like it's like a lucky game sometimes, as I heard. If they have a good day and they like your way of talking, or you say, hey, have a welcome, get your coffee. It's like that, to be honest.
Because I would be interested if the inspectors...
But sorry, I have to say, I don't know for sure, but it's like all the people they're working for controlling systems, how do they control?
Yeah, because that's what I would be interested in, if they are like familiar, or if they are educated in alternative ways, if they can even like
realize what's going on there. I don't know. I don't think so. They are just very carefully saying, I think they have a very basic raster that fits, that doesn't fit. I noticed that one, blah, 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 blah. And if you have 60% good and 40, then okay, it's okay, maybe like this. But I don't think they're very special, taught in different pedagogical treatments. And how to see in the Waldorf school and how the Waldorf school classes and the Claremont classes. Don't think so.
And to stay a bit with this topic of the curriculum, like in order to teach, to open up school for also like other kids to come, what is the requirement that you need to prove that you are like not making things up, but you are educating kids within certain agreed parameters?
I also don't know, because I'm not a teacher.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Yeah, but what I know is what I told before is the fact that the government is afraid of sects or cults, that you're not allowed. They have to control who is doing that,
Yes.
and we have to control every year that not whatever a random person, a very motivated parents, a group of parents is doing their individual school because they want their own rules and want to teach what they really think, what is really important to their kids, and they're also teaching how to whatever, like a cult or a strange tradition. They have to be controlled somehow.
So it's more about the control after establishing the school rather than like proving something beforehand.
Like the test of if you have, for example, your homeschooling, then you have to do the external test if you are in the right level. If your knowledge of an 8-year-old kid is in the right level for the society, and then you have to do a test, and that's every year you have to do that. And if you're doing your own school, then you have to do the external test as well. And that's a very big, it needs a lot of energy for all the institutions. If you have, for example, in Austria, there was a phase where many people wanted to have their kids at home for homeschooling, and a lot of people want to do their private schools. And all those kids, for example, 30,000 kids, all of them needed external tests, and they have to do it on schools where the normal teacher for the class, they have to do it or had to do it, and it was a lot of energy and money which the state has to put in that this happened. Yeah. You understood? You understood what I said? Yeah, okay, perfect.
And
that's a problem as well.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking about a more like less practical issue, but more into the education levels, that we know that the normative schooling system doesn't exactly follow the developmental stages of a child's brain. And here is the problem that even then, exactly. If you are in alternative school, but for example, you are still like healthy, you are developmentally healthy, but you are simply choosing to learn certain things at a different time, you still need to do the tests anyway.
Yeah.
And every year this needs to happen. And how does the schools, like the one where you work, copes with this? So is it like still the curriculum within 1 year is still like boxed a bit, even so the child can like choose within the year, but it needs to happen within that 1 year? It
has to happen, but they can choose how it is happening in a good way, and like playing. That's a good part of the private school I'm in, for example. They have to do it anyway, but they can choose a bit nicer path to get it done.
Yeah. But as the school where you work at is certified, the children can do those tests like within the school. They don't have to do the external ones. But does it still mean that at the end of the year there is like sort of standardized tests they have to go through instead of the type of testing they were experiencing during the year? Like a test where they cannot say, I will not do the other side of the paper.
I didn't get it.
Like, you know, you have the standardized test, like if your school is not certified, the child needs to go.
Then you have to go to an external school and have to do it
and
there.
And is it
exactly.
the same kind of the test that kids have to experience in your school at the end of the year, even though they were like...
I think no.
Okay.
In the first and second class, it's like a Schulbesuchsbestätigung. They get... Oh, a bad word. Schulbesuchs. They get a certificate that they were there, and after the third class, they get a like the notes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the teachers are taking the responsibility for the paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, understood.
As I know.
And is there an option for the kids to follow then, like after elementary school, like to follow the same alternative approach, or do they need to switch schools?
That depends on the wish of the parents.
But is it like in your school, like is it on all
in our
parts,
school, it's just first to fourth class, the primary school. And after our school, they're going to gymnasium or to another alternative school.
Does it like exist in Austria?
It exists,
is it
available? In that area where I'm based, there are a lot of alternative schools, but also the public schools. Yeah, both exists, and that's interesting about the stories about from the parents after the first or second year in a new school, how the kids deal with the new school. But a lot of good stories are coming to our ears.
You mean going from alternative school to the state school?
Also, yeah.
This, maybe if you know more, we could tell something about it, because I think it's interesting how children who are used to this like very high level of freedom then cope with the state.
The high level of freedom is it's like they can have it, but they can also have the more structure. Like I said in the beginning, there is a part of the school where you can learn what kind of learner or what learning type you are. So there's the possibility to get more structure in our school or to get more free time. If I see after the second year in the school, okay, that's a kid which needs more structure, then it's getting more structure. And if I see the productivity of that child is growing by free learning, then it's getting more free time. And your question was if they're going to another school.
How do they handle it, basically? If now you really have the structure, you have to follow.
To be honest,
it,
I can't give you a specific answer, because it depends on so much factors. Who is the teacher of the kid? How much space do they have to be individual? And it's so different, really. And I just know a few which go further. Yeah.
Okay. And as we
but there are many different stories I heard about kids. They have problems, were struggling through until the Matura, did it almost, and then they found their path after a long time. So I don't know. Therefore, we have to read statistics, probably. I don't know.
Okay, and maybe one last aspect to address when we talk about this, like private and state sector, is that the alternative schooling is not exactly accessible for everyone, or it seems that way, because it's private and it's expensive usually.
Yeah, that's a big topic.
Is this one thing? Is that how expensive is it, or are there differences for, like, is the parental income considered Is it like individual?
Yeah,
or?
it is considered. The less you earn, the less you have to pay. It's a possibility on my school, and also in the kindergarten I was working in. And also, for example, at the Petzleinsdorfer Schule in the 18th district, they're also taking care about this procedure, as I know. And yes, it's very many parents that I've met, they said, or still say, if it's important for me to have my child there, I do everything to make it possible. Yeah. But for some, for example, alleinerziehende Mütter, single mothers, thanks. There were many problems. Yeah, and we had some of them in one group, and they had less income, and we couldn't afford to take the money, we have to pay the people they're working there, and that was a problem. We couldn't take 4 single mothers, for example. We could just take one, yeah, and there it starts. We didn't get the support from the state, so we couldn't do it.
Are there any options to apply for state support as a school?
Yeah, but I don't know exactly which. I don't know.
Okay, but
it's not that easy. We tried a lot of things, but it's not that easy. But what I wanted to say, yeah, and also we had a lot of old structured family where the males are working and getting the money, and the women is at home and does the kids and the household and blah, and that was sometimes easier for them because the males are earning more money, and that was makeable. Yeah, that was also part of the group, or some freelancers. Very rich people, they had problems to pay. I lost the question.
No, I think the question was if there are like ways to get the funding from state or some other ways.
Yeah, a bit support, but not as much as we need for social weak people, for example. Yeah, in my opinion, all in all, it's not very easy to pay the cost for the schools or the kindergartens. If you are, for example, in the low middle class, it's very knapp. Yeah. You can give your kids in those institutions, but you can't go for holidays or, for example, yeah.
So you like need to prioritize differently than your family budget.
But why not? Some are saying, yeah. You have your priorities, and your kid is having a great life. Yeah.
And would you say that is basically the reason is that there are state-funded schools and non-funded schools, or is the alternative education, like would it be more expensive for the state to cover alternative approaches than it is the normative system that is running in the majority of the state schools?
Let's start there. I hope there is a change, that it's getting better, also better paid. I don't know how to make it.
You mean like the staff is better paid than it is in the state schools?
No, the staff is better paid in state schools than in private schools.
Okay.
I would say definitely.
Okay, that's interesting, because that would mean that for the state it would be cheaper to fund alternative schools than state schools, no?
Yeah, that would be would be right then, but I don't know exactly.
Or is it simply because there is less children in the classroom, which means that it would require more teacher even if their salaries are lower?
To be honest,
the full number would be like higher. Like what is?
I have to do some research
Okay.
to answer that in a proper way, but yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Then I will not.
Please
I will
change the topic.
Yeah. Then maybe the last question that I was also asking, modification in the previous talks, like what people can do to change something now, like in their daily lives. Like for example, in this case, what could parents do to use maybe some of the techniques that you are using in learning process, like at least at home, even though they cannot like implement it in school? Like is there something easy to work with?
Yeah, the easy part would be to be open-minded for sharing energies. Like in my family, our aim is to go to a village where we are close with friends and other parents and kids. There is a German saying, you need a village to raise a child, yeah, and it's true. And if I'm living with my family in a little flat on the 8th floor in Vienna, and we are all by ourselves too much, then it's killing us mentally, yeah. So you need more people to raise your child, like friends and a good community. Why the small schools, alternative schools, are good places, because it's feeling like a community, because it's very small. And that would be advice, to find places like this where you feel like being a part of a group, or a supported group. And in the big public school game, like I said before, I don't know what's the topics in their studies, if you're getting teachers. But if they know about those social movements and why the problems are hitting single families so hard, then maybe they should build smaller apartments in the schools where 600 kids are together, I don't know. Or make it more individual group for those people. It's very hard for me to explain it now in English, especially, but...
No, but it was an interesting point that is more about lifestyle rather than a specific learning style. The accommodation, that can already help.
Yeah, that's a small beginning.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
if you want, but do you want to add something that I maybe didn't ask, forgot to ask, or you find important to mention?
No, I can't think about that right now. But that there is how is it called? A system, the open space system. Somebody figured out in seminars and meetings that the main exchange of informations happen in the breaks. So between the lines, for example. And that's the time after school, the time in the breaks, maybe also the recreational educator time in parks, and to work more with families and working on a community would be a very good step in probably helping that system.
Do you maybe want to say something about this recreational part? Because we were talking basically about the school and the teaching, learning, but you...
No, I can't say a lot because I'm just going to study next year.
Okay.
And all the things I've done until now, they just happened in practice. Practical time and working with good people and talking a lot of it about what we are doing, who we are and why are we doing all that. Yeah, I'm just starting.
Okay, then we'll leave it for another talk after.
Yeah, maybe.
after your studies are finished.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you very much
Yeah, most
for
welcome.
being here and talking
Thanks
to
for
us.
great questions. I'm taking them to my home now.
Do you have any questions from the audience?
Because you said about mental health and stuff, if you have people with disabilities like ADHD, autism, whatever, do you have some kind of professionals that work with the children that help you with? Because in an open system, especially ADHD and autism, could be very problematic for them. But do you have a professional help, like someone who knows more about it and can support the children, I don't know, or explain to teachers what about the disability? I don't like the word, but yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I have no alternative for the word right now, in English especially. We had in the kindergarten where I was working, we tried to invite people, professionals, but nobody could afford their one-to-one services. Yeah, it wasn't possible because they already paid for the kindergarten, which was private. So they had to find an institution where the professionals were centered. Yeah. So then this was a special school, special kindergarten. But it was our wish to make it happen or make it possible to be in the same place like they were before. Yeah, but it was too expensive. But it would be great if the state would support this.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah.
Because you were saying last week that in the state schools it is supported, like it's state-funded assistance.
It's assistance for the children, but it's still not what, like, I think for private schools there is also assistance. It has to be paid by the parents. It's not that expensive as a proper professional that can, like, actually do a bit more than this. But yeah, I was just saying there is a bit more going on in private schools.
In our school, it's like we have people where we can recommend to visit them. Yeah.
But do you have like a school psychologist or something?
No, we are all psychologists. No, we don't have it.
Okay.
We just say, please go to this direction, maybe it can help you. Yeah. Thanks too.
Thank you. I have also a question. I have many questions, but okay, one question. If you could summarize, because I could get from your talk some of the, let's say, main philosophy behind the alternative school, but for example, sense of community or like building this community among the students, for example, that is not something we find in the like normal common schools. What are the other things that, like, you would say is something that it's a philosophy of the school, in a way, like that your school does better than the state schools? Like, I'm thinking about like social responsibility, for example, because like for some things like that, and how is that through the courses that you're teaching, but also through the format, kind of contributing to, I mean, yeah.
I have to say again, we're small, we have time to talk, and our wish is to see and tell the people what we see, and then talking about it. And that's the main part of it, I would say.
But is there some kind of focus on maybe this like social responsibility aspect of like ecology or like topics around, let's say, climate crisis, or, you know, like these things that are maybe not so covered in the state fund? Like, does it come with this alternative approach that these certain things are maybe amplified or like naturally incorporated in the ways you act?
I wanted to respond to the second procedure you described. Can you repeat your question?
I'm sorry,
I
I was clarifying.
I was just,
I mean, I was just wondering, so like, because I mean, you were also mentioning this, like when you mentioned the chickens, like that there's this space somehow like for the students to explore some things on their own. So I was just wondering like how like what is the statement of the school, like how school does something that is not really done in the like normal schools, let's call them state schools, like this sense of community. This is what I got. That it's very important. This is great. But like, what are maybe some other things?
Practically, I can't tell you exactly, but I can just repeat myself in, and that's a state of art, or it's I don't manipulate. We don't manipulate the kids to get them to finding their. We don't manipulate. We just take them and trying to giving them the feeling that they are good like they are. And it's very easy said, but it's not very easy in living in the daily business in the school. But it's we all are doing it for a long time. That we can give the feeling that you are right like you are. And then we sit together and let the kids talk about their feelings, and we're all how to say, we all have kind of therapial background. I was doing speaking therapy for a long time. I visited seminars. Is it the right word, seminar? Yeah. It's called Idiolektik. It's the Eigensprache. And Judith is also working in a therapist way. And it's just, it's hard to explain. Sorry, I can't just say we'll let them be and help them in getting the next step together, and asking them if they have an idea to go the next step. If not, then we can make a suggestion. We let them, they are their own little experts, and if they can choose the next step, it's perfect. If not, we are trying to help them in finding a way. And if we don't find it at the first step, then we take a second step and third step until we reach the common sense. Or I'm sorry, I can't explain it better.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
All good.
For example, if I'm making a art course, handcraft course, I tell them, today you can make something for yourself that you put on your shelf. The next time we're doing something for the dustbin. You don't have to create a beautiful, or something which you can destroy afterward. Or you do it for your close person or a far person, to make it, to feel a relation which is healthy. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you. Any more questions?
If I can, I like the approach of this alternative school and the communication, forming groups and working with the kids, and the way it is, because in small groups, even for teachers, it is much easier to work with the kids.
Yeah.
And my question would be, which kind of knowledge or which literature you are using to educate kids? Is it from state schools literature, or is it alternative?
It's also a mixture, but I would say it's from state school. You can choose every year which books you're buying, more or less, and then you have the material, and you can also adjust how you use it. Or you take the base, but you can explain it in a different way, or start with some self-developed materials or exercises to get to the point, I would say. but it's very common books. Yeah. But nice ones. They're not all bad, yeah. It's like also the public schools are trying to give their best, I would say. And I have many friends, they're working in public schools and they are very, very good teachers. And they have to follow the curriculum, but they're doing it a very good way. So, sorry that I didn't want to interpret that it's about bad books, but I studied them as well and I found it's very nice creative material.
How far can you go above or under the curriculum that the normal state schools have?
I don't know. I'm not a teacher there, I'm just a supervisor and my colleagues are the teachers, so I don't know how far they can surround, or I don't know how to say even. In the end of the year they have to reach a level of knowledge. And in the end of 4 years, they're going to another school, and my colleagues want that they are settled and feel safe to go out in the world. Yeah.
I have a question. Like, what do you think? I mean, it's very subjective, and yeah. But I'm interested. What would you think that are kind of like favorite activities, like for example, top 5.
Top 5 favorite,
Okay,
top 5 activities
like,
in the
okay,
school.
So these top 5 of Freizeit. Like, I mean, what would you say from your experience? These are like the top 5, like kids like really dig it every time.
When they are with me,
Yeah.
I can
That's why I'm saying like.
talk about that. Yeah. We do a lot of paintings. We searching for nature materials and creating it by color pens, or the wood Schnitzen. They love these two. These are the most favorite ones, I would say. The coloring and the woodworking. And the third one, or it's also base, it's just being outside without any program, because that could be less is more. To be in the forest, for example, has everything to just find something or being without doing anything. What's the third one?
I think this is something you didn't mention, right? Because the school is very close to the forest, so
Yeah.
you also have the access to go there. with
That's
the
right.
kids.
Yeah, and the water as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I was working in the forest kindergarten, and we have been outside every day, and the winter was strange, was making them stronger. In the springtime, they were like new little individuals, strong ones. But there are 2 parts missing of the 5 favorites.
How many times
Talking.
do you agree?
Just talking and listening to each other. And then there are the games, like classical games, Verstecken, running, football, badminton. That's okay. It's not my... sometimes I like to do it, but it's not my favorite. But if they like it, it's a favorite too of mine. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I have another question. What happens if, for example, you find like a bullying case or something like that in this alternative environment?
The first step would be that I'm going there to listen what happened, and that is the best if I take those parts of the group which were included in the bullying to a different space, or to change the room, or to go outside to have our own space, that not the others are listening and saying maybe but it happened like this, just to have the peace to talk in that group. And then it depends on how hard the bullying was. But for example, a lot of solving happened just through listening and repeating. So part A saying, I did this, and part B saying, yeah, you did this, and then this happened, and I repeat part A's word and B's word, and then I asked, what do you think about my words? What did I hear? Did I hear it right, or shall we talk more about it? And then it could go for an hour like this. If I have the time, that would be the perfect surrounding. And even if that is not enough, if I have the feeling that it's a bigger topic, which is also coming from a problem from the home base or whatever, then I also can talk to the parents what I heard, what they told me, and then ask them after that what I told them, what they can talk or what they can say to it. It's everything about asking and listening all the time, and then it's going step by step by step by step. And if it's getting bigger, then we have a team talk with the parents, with the kid, and that's the biggest step. But this can happen twice or many times. And if we see that we can't deal with that situation, and it's taking more energy from us than we can provide, then there's a big problem. Or then we have to see what's the next step. But most of the times, if somebody is getting bullied or is the bully, it's all about talking and listening what's behind all that. And if you have the time to speak and listen, then maybe you're finding the source, and then it's often good and finished. Easier than I interpretate what I feel. I can tell that, but I have to say that's my interpretation, not that it is a fact. That's a very dangerous act. Yeah. Welcome. Thanks for asking. It's a big topic in our daily work.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Then thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Niklas, for joining us, and we can finish.